if somebody doesn't have the skill set, you can teach them. But if someone doesn't have the commitment or isn't a fit for your organization, you won't change them.
No.
So so it's the key is really, more on the commitment and the culture fit side, because if someone, provided that they're willing and able to learn, which, we would assume, uh, you can teach them the skills, but you can't teach them the culture fit, most likely because you don't change people's personality.
Let's say you already have hired them, right? And
Hmm.
you're trying, and what we do is we have an accelerator program, right? So we are taking clinics to the next level. And sometimes the people that they have are not the people that got them there, are not going to be the people to take them next level. And sometimes they just need some help or retraining or reframing. So, what do you do? What's the best way, especially when you're patient centric, but yet all of a sudden to you, the employee, the doctor's like, we've got to make more money and we're going to get more patients. We're going to do something different. And you feel that maybe that doesn't align with why you're there. Of course, for the doctor, they're like, I can help more people. Right. If I do this, I'm going to help a lot more people make bigger impacts. But how would you, it used to be we would put people on a performance improvement plan. You'd sit down with them and then you tell them that. And now that's gotten kind of a bad rap. So, what do you work with people when you need to retrain or get them say, you know what, we're not hitting the mark anymore. We were, but this is where we need to go now.
Yeah. So, just um, one quick comment back to hiring. When you hire someone, you want to
Mhm.
make sure you hire someone who is adaptable, and who
Right.
doesn't, by nature, resist any type of change. If you can figure it out. Sometimes you
Yeah.
can't, but if you can, But to your point and to the situation, that's it. It's a typical change management challenge. One of the key things in a change management process is clear communication. What are you doing? Why are you doing this? And answer the question, what's in it for me, for the employee? So, how do they benefit from this? So, let's just say it's the introduction of a technical tool. So they have
Mhm.
done something on paper by hand, and now they need to put it in the system, and it's something like that. And someone might be resisting to this. You'd have to really understand why. Why are they resisting this? What is their issue? So listening, asking the right questions, to your earlier point, and listening is very much key. uh, Everybody goes through a change curve at a different pace, but everybody will go through it. You have early adopters, the folks that will go for it and say, yeah, that's exciting, I want to try this, I want to be part of this. You have the people that are not going to unless you make them, on the other end of the
Mhm.
spectrum. And the biggest part of the people are usually in the middle, that kind of sit back and watch for a little while, and then eventually they kind of get with the program, and it's all not that bad yet, but they're not necessarily the ones jumping, ahead of it. So any type of change, it's really important to navigate that with empathy, understanding what's going on in those people's heads. Are they afraid that they're losing their job? Are they, are there serious concerns that you can actually talk about and address and help them with? Or is it just somebody who absolutely doesn't want to do it, period? And that exists too. But when you get to the point where you figure out that someone, even though they could, but they really just don't get with the program and they don't want to, just because they don't want to, then I think you have no choice other than to make a change there.
Yeah.
Um,
And
I-
I know
Mhm.
turnover is a big deal for our, a lot of physicians are very turnover resistant. They'll keep employees who tell them, well, you can't do anything without me. They'll keep a person who's basically mutinied and now they're a negative force and everything starts to go downhill and they still won't let this person go. Right.
Yeah.
And I know that turnover, you have to think about it as far as what that person is, how worth it is it? And I know one of the tools that Ulli is providing is a turnover calculator because there are two camps. There are people who will just fire easily, very easily and not invest. Well, you don't want to do that. You have to invest and train people because it is very expensive to turn over, but that at one point, the turnover, you're going to have to do it. Um,
So turnover, I agree with turnover can be very expensive. So you want to think about it, before you
Mm.
do it. But also, let's not underestimate how big the cost of inaction is when you have someone who is not a fit or who is actively disengaged and potentially talking bad about you and your practice and what's going on. The cost of inaction and keeping this person is tremendous as well, because you lose other people's engagement, you lose productivity, you have other people quit because they don't want to be there if the situation
Hmm.
and the environment isn't as as they would like to see it or would like to have it. I think cost of inaction is always something that every business owner needs to really look at. And it's interesting, I think they do that more so in sales. Like you would never not pursue sales in a business because you know that you're not making money, right? That's a cost of inaction if you don't do that. So same probably with marketing and other functions. In HR, it's the same thing. If you have a bad apple, you can't afford to just keep it. However, to your point, Jennifer, I think it's really important. If just because someone can't do or isn't high performing from day one, and you still owe people the attempt to help them through a change. You owe them the giving them a chance to get with a program.